My name is Lee. I am your humble host for tonight's stream. Him vibes tonight, but cheer day is fine. I'm pretty chill. Welcome. I'm also having yogurt. Yogurt Crunch is amazing. Alright, we're gonna have to stream back in afterward, but like, okay. So my plan for tonight, I usually start the streams at 11:30. I said I was starting the stream at 11:30. Now, to be fair, or 11:15. Now, to be fair about that, I started the stream at 11:15 because I thought I was gonna have to take the 10:15 bus home, but I managed to get a ride to the bus station, so I managed to catch the 9:15 bus, which meant that I could. I think I might even have been able to make the 9:15 even if I hadn't gotten a ride. It just would have. I would have had to hustle, and which is very fair. But also, they're not a sponsor, but Yo Crunch is absolutely delicious, and it was my special treat as a child to go with my mother. Whenever I went to the supermarket with my mother, you had to go with her, and you get to pick out one Yo Crunch. I like to buy myself one if I go to the supermarket. You know. And this one had M&M's, and it's strawberry, and it's one of the few times strawberry. They never have strawberry with any of the candy ones. They only have strawberry with the granola, but they have the strawberry with the candy. And I didn't even realize it was strawberry. I just thought it was M&M's, and I heard, M&M's are a vibe. Because it was on my way out, down toward the checkout, and then I just grabbed it impulsively, and got the strawberry one. It's like the best one. Sorry. I shouldn't be this happy about yogurt, but it's really yummy. Okay. Yogurt is gone, so no more yogurt. That's okay. Okay. Alright, so, hi, also, I'm going to put that there for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'm going to hang out, so I'm typing up this. It's something I wrote. It's a, 16th level bard, and she's the elven princess of the Castavan Islands, which are, to the north of the new continent, which I named. I named the continent. Finally. I don't remember what I named it, but I did name it. Hang on a sec. Let me check something real quick in here. It should have... Ooh, race builder. Okay, now this is going to be really handy, actually. We're going to bust out, since we said it was Pathfinder, we're going to have to actually bust out Pathfinder rule sets. So, that'll be handy for later. I'm going to start, for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start typing this up, because I know I need to. I should take out the Rogue Trader, because we're not doing Rogue, because that is the no, not that either. The Warhammer 40k, game from Facebook Games, which we do on occasion. I have an entire freaking universe set in that. I should probably do a type up stream too, but I should really type up this stuff because this is falling apart. But I'm gonna start. Well, okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go bring this up. We're gonna do this. Yes. Then we're going to do this. Okay. We're going to do this. And then, see? Now we just Nope, that's something else. I don't know what that is. Probably shouldn't move it around if I don't know what it is. There we go. That's what I need to move. Well, actually, I could just switch it down a little. Yeah. Alright, also, freaking hate Times New Roman is my vibe. It's like my favorite font, and they don't do it automatically anymore. Calibri, like, what even font? No, Times New Roman is the only way to go, and I don't know how to change it to automatically go Times New Roman, so what we always manually. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly. No, hang on. Nope, that is not the right one. Okay, but we, Alt, okay. Here we go. Alt codes for, here we go. E, lowercase e with an accent. Écoute is 0233. So I was one letter off. So, there we go. The Middle Princess of Castellan. Here, we'll put Princess of Castellan. Yes, we're going to do this. Oh, yes, then we're going to do that. Then we're going to do, sorry, there's a few things I have to do. But, my point on that is, yeah, so we're gonna, yes, we're doing that. Okay, playing that way. Yeah, that's how I'll play it. Live world, hi. So my plan on that is to go to here, do here, and Stillness. There's a lot of really cool D&D Twitch people on right now. Like Phoenix Iwaki is on. Who else? We got Stella Luna is on as well. They're both playing, and they're both really awesome. I was in Phoenix's chat, just popping in to say hello briefly before I started this one, but Jay was on tonight, but he raided in. There's a bunch of other people on, and I know they're all really cool, and I am not saying you shouldn't watch me, but if you're more into a actual play style as opposed to just world building and babbling and discussion, which is, it depends on what your vibe is. If that's one of your vibe, I would highly recommend those two as your sourcing for that. But and if Phoenix is still playing when we end our stream tonight, we'll probably raid into that. Probably raid into one of them, maybe. We'll see. Raids. Okay, so okay, yes. So, http://www. There we go. That is a thing. Then we do that one, the other one, and oh yeah, I'm supposed to be interesting. Okay, the thing about, I was doing a thing. I was in the middle of something important, and I lost my train of just existence, which happens from time to time. We do the best we can with it anyway. But yeah. Okay, interesting. Okay, so, sorry, I'm getting very distracted. Okay, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do this. So, Princess Lulale, I'm gonna keep typing her up for a little bit, and if we get some viewers and people are, oh, no! Yes, the aquatic dwarves. Right. So, my plan for aquatic dwarves. I will, actually, now that we have people here, I'm gonna cut this down. This was my, getting to, no, aquatic dwarves, basically, no, not quite. I don't think they're more slim. So, how this went about was, I was on stream, streaming with, also, hi, I haven't seen you in a while, welcome to the stream. What was the thing? Oh, yeah, so, I was, going on, another stream, a Greyhawk stream, and we were going through the Greyhawk lore, and there's this lake, Lake Spendlow, in the Duchy of Berghoff, if I remember correctly, which is on this, in Greyhawk, or on Orth, rather. It's not near Greyhawk at all. It's on Orth, though. To the south west, to the very far southwest, there is a what's the term? A lake called Lake Spendlow. That's apparently has these creatures called Marodins. Which are plant-like sentient beings that live in the bottom of the lake and are kind of interesting. And I was reading an article, it mentioned them and I didn't know what they were, so I went to Google it to try to find another page on the wiki, because that version of the new wiki didn't have the links to that yet. It does now, because Christoph edited it on screen, because Christoph is amazing, and he's really passionate about Greyhawk, so when I mentioned that there was something up with the wiki, he fixed it. But it led to the page on, there were a couple of other things. But basically, one of the first things that led to was Moradin, the dwarven god of the forge, because, or the... Now I have to look up who Moradin is. He's the head dwarven god in Greyhawk Pantheon, if I remember correctly. I know, right? He edited the wiki live on stream so that all the links went through to the different sub pages, because there wasn't a link to the Lake Spendlow page on the original Duchy of Berghoff page on the new wiki when I first read it, and that's where it explained what the Marodins were, which is why I was trying to figure that out. But when I said Moradin, Sig was in chat and suggested that maybe Moradin did like living in the bottom of the lake as a dwarf, a god of smiths, which made no sense. So then we were kind of coming back and forth with the joke, and I came up with this crazy idea that just might work. That we could do aquatic dwarves, right? That could, because volcanic vents do get hot enough to forge, you could use forging tools and be in these deep underground lakes. And I was just, with the volcanic vents at the very bottom that does are hot enough to use for forging, and you could have underground mining, underwater mining rather, like flooded out tunnels, and it just kind of hit me as something really cool. A little bit nonsensical, admittedly, but something that was really cool. So then I thought, hey, so I thought, hey, we're gonna put this in our in my world that I've been creating, which, I named the main continent. So I actually have a couple maps. Let's see what I got for maps. Hitherland. Here we go. I have a map of Hitherland, which is, I am actually, I'll keep it up for a little bit. We actually named if I remember correctly, I wrote this down, the continent. Bees came up with a really good name for it, so we did, the continent. I actually have a map of that, too. Let's see, map. Not very good map, honestly, because my map-making skills, I have no Anna B. Myers, right? My map-making skills are, at best, but if I can find the, I called it map of map on my, map of Verlastron, this map. I have to move my flag. I put my flag up in the corner, which is really cool. I can pop it down for a little bit. But this map is a continent that we just named, and oh, yes, hang on a second. I know how to find out what it's called. We go to this little page here, and actually you can, yeah. Always save your work. Circumorthocution, which is what, Sprintia. Sprintia is the continent. That's this one here. We got Bjornga up in the northern part of the continent, and then Gilnia and Kashidar and Florentia Ventia Napolita, which is what's left of the Napolitan Empire. Well, the last bit of the Napolitan Empire to crumble, which used to go all the way up to, like, Hitherland and Hydian before they broke off much earlier, and then Gilnia was always kind of its own thing, and Kassidar's got... Anyway, there's a lot of history that I've been working on. Where was it? Oh, yes. Map of... Here we go. So Sprintia, so that's in the same world as Sprintia, which, I've been calling the world Hitherland simply because that's the main country that I have there. And I don't have a world map yet, but there are a few, a few things. There's Trompelia, which is just to the south of Sprintia. It's kind of like, it's far enough south. I think it's on this map, actually. You can kind of see it right down here at the very bottom of this map. But basically, I was going to say map of map. It is a, it's a world that I'm developing for certain campaigns that I've done a lot of world building for it on this stream before. And when I came up with the idea for Aquatic Dwarves and that we were going to do that, sorry, I'm trying to fill a little bit of time. I know because I said I wasn't going to start, posted that I wasn't going to start actually doing Aquatic Dwarves until 11, to give people time to get a chance to come in, but, I did start the stream a little early. Here, let me go back to that. Yes. But, I worked on, Castoran, which is a tropical island between the Empire and the other continent, which is Sprintia. So, between Sprintia and the Empire. Sprintia to the east, and the Empire to the west. And they have 5 cities on the island, which has a duke, and then the king's the de facto duke of the capital, and, but also the king, and then there's a whole, thing going on with that. No, what I meant to do is that one. Is kind of, I was trying to type up the princess. Elven. Yes, she is Elven. Which a lot of elven, and there's also a very high gnomish population. A lot of gnomish druids, druidic tribes that on the island as well. But I could do. Oh, exotic fruits and fine silks. Hang on, that was a little bit of setting info that I forgot to write. Tropical island. Heavy jungles. On the interior. Exotic fruit and fine silks. Yeah. That was something I put up here. Okay. Casualty. Okay, so that's for the princess. And I wrote a lot of other notes on Castoran, which I typed up, but which is all of this. I actually did a lot of when I did the stream on Castoran, I did a lot of inventing on that, but I am. Alright, so she's got a whole stat set. Oof. Strength is 12. She's a 16th level bard, also, which, basically she was created as a wish fulfillment character for a very good friend of mine, so I kind of made her kind of awesome. Not like overpowered awesome, but pretty awesome. Dexterity. Alright, I'm trying not to give out because chocolate is a good cure for exhaustion. Everyone knows that. These are really good. Yes, dexterity is 16. So sorry. So +3. Yeah. Oh, the Slav squad, yeah. Alright, we got that going. Okay, Fireball is not... Fireball is not... Well, Fireball is a very useful spell. It is not the be-all, end-all of spells, I would say. Yeah. I don't usually like doing bards with low intelligence. I feel like it's not... Charisma. I feel like it doesn't quite fit the vibe, but it fits her vibe. It's a +6. Yeah, so she's got a decent charisma. Wisdom. Of 12. Ooh! Super low constitution. Well, not incredibly low constitution. I mean, like an 8. So that's a no, he had a 7 intelligence, not which is a -1. I had a character. Very chaotic. She's incredibly chaotic. She doesn't want the throne. Basically, even though she's second child, she wouldn't get it anyway. But basically, she doesn't want the throne because she doesn't want the responsibility. She also has a lover, a young woman who is around somewhere. I can't remember what this young woman's name was. Who was half human. Well, a half elf, but the other half was human. So, I found Pokemon Capri Sun, which is 2 of my favorite things in the world, so I've been slowly consuming them. A lot on stream because they're right here. So, almost out. Chimchar, Piplup, and Turtwig. I think they're re-releasing. What's it? They're remaking Gen 4, and so oh yes. Oh right, hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna put redo. Yeah, just so they're in the. I know they're not. They don't officially have to be in that order exactly, but it certainly would be helpful to have them in the right order. 10:58. I agree. It's giving me a lot of pep right now, so I'm good to go. Okay, so we got this for her, and that actually makes perfect sense because her height is 5'5", 5'5", 5'5". Weight is 95 pounds, larger than average breasts. Let's see that. We got skin pale with a slight tan. Skin is pale with. I'm gonna finish. Smattering of freckles. And hair is auburn, shoulder length. Wavy. It's wavy. Yeah, she wears her hair down. That's that. And her age is 100. Okay, so age is 120, which for half elf is not. Well, an elf actually, so full elf. That she's young. All right, so we're gonna save this. Then I'm gonna go back to here, which countries. Then we're gonna go like this. So okay, so I'm thinking, because it's 11 o'clock, I'm gonna actually start the go to the boom, 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 boom. Oh, are you in our? Hang on. I want to do the thing before we. Sorry, I want to invite you to the thing. Hang on. Okay, so yeah, I could have done it. There we go, and this we go, and That is my Discord. I have a personal Discord for the stream, which I am. You're free to join if you want. You don't have to. It's not an invitation, not a request even, but it's a fun time and certainly not a demand. But it's a lot of fun. It's kind of quiet, but we're working on that. I share fun memes with people occasionally, and you know. So there's that. What else? Oh yes. So I could do. So we could do it. Well, let's type it all. Let's do. All right. So I'm gonna say to the far south of the equator. Right, because the equator goes somewhere through just under Napolita, right? So is the equator, and I think I need to draw better, but I need to get a world map, but I think so far to the south of the equator, tropical, yes, you got the islands, you got those there, they're kind of at a latitude with Napolita, and then but a little bit farther south maybe, but pretty much right. And then you got the Empire. And then there's another island that used to be a bunch of islands that used to be ruled by the Empire, that broke away. Castavan being kind of, well, Castavan is it's a protectorate of the Empire, I'm pretty sure. So I should note that down in my okay, yeah, I think it's technically a protectorate. You know, so it's got some ties. It's complicated, and elves live a long time, and they basically just pay lip service to the Empire and then do whatever they want otherwise. Which, you know, the Empire has its own problems. They're not too concerned with that, but alright. Okay. So, there's that going on. Far south of the Empire, I'm gonna say. Far south enough that it's not tropical. So you know how, then you get to, like, southern Argentina and Chile or Australia. You get warmer and warmer as it goes south until you hit the equator, and then post-equator, it starts going the other way. But the problem with that is that there's not the way Earth works is that the vast majority of stuff is north of the equator, so there's not a lot of stuff south of the equator. But let's say, yeah, we're gonna set them very far south of the equator, practically Antarctic, honestly. In fact, they would be, they build their homes around these volcanic vents that are hot enough to forge. And while the waters act as enough of a heat sink that the waters aren't, like, warm, it's certainly enough to keep them, from freezing to death. So, what we're going to do is, bring this up. So, far south of the Empire, practically inked, and Antarctic, as it were. Yeah, practically Antarctic, or at least the equivalent on this other planet. A handful. So mountains. I need a name for the race, like a. They're cousins to dwarves. And deep. By volcanic. Odd enough that metal. Alright, and just I'm gonna start with. Do one at a time. Probably. There's a German word for everything, honestly. Um. Mm-hmm. A particular aquatic. Has because you want to say surface dwarves, but they don't live on the surface. Dwarves are still underground, you know? Mm. True, the better known dwarves. Um. Very true. But they're only better known among people on land, you know what I mean? They're not... Mm-mm. Low temp. So we got the Pathfinder Advanced Race Guide, and because we have the Pathfinder Advanced Race Guide, what we could do is there's a race builder. There comes a point in every here we go. There comes a point in nearly every campaign when someone, either one of the players or the GM, wants to create a new race. Sometimes the GM needs a new race to fill a story or ecological niche in her campaign world. Such races may be as simple as elves who dwell in Arctic climate, or as complex as clockwork giants from another plane of existence. Perhaps the player wants to play a monstrous race who has been inspired by some piece of fiction or a flight of creative fancy and wants to create a race for a new character concept not yet seen in Pathfinder. Smelting, yes. Yes, I do mean smelting. I feel like I might have said something else, but I meant smelting. The following rules allow GMs, or even players with GM oversight, to create new races that are balanced and meshed with other core races. In addition, these rules allow you to create powerful races meant to take on more challenging encounters than those typically faced by core races. You can create new races, model after a race after existing monster, or even power up core races in order to play these races side by side with more powerful new races. Sounds pretty cool. Sounds... Wait, I am? Am I muted or did my mic stop working? This is an important question because... Alright, so according to this... Let me find... Hang on. Alright, hang on. Try that. Does that help? Because that's the one that puts the sound. I might have screwed that up. Though, then again, it was off the whole time and you could still hear me, so I don't know what otherwise would have... Alright, can you hear... let me check. Camera's, that's still connected, so my mic still should be working. Unless the mic itself stopped working. Alright, and am I still muted? And is it on your end or on my end? That's an important question, because you're the only one in chat right now, so I don't have any secondary... Yes, okay, that's cool. No, it's always good to double check these things, because I lost sound on Jay's stream, and I couldn't hear what he was saying, and it turned out it was just me. I had to refresh the page, apparently something went wrong, so yeah, I get that. Oh, it is 11:15 now, so hopefully, that's when I said I was going to start, because let me look at phonemes general. Oh, you popped in. Hi. Oh, wow, we got 2 people in the thing. Another new friend in the chat who came in. Welcome, both of you. Here, I'm going to do that. Okay, well, do on that side. That's fun. Always love having new people in the chat. Let's see. Also, say hi in the chat here if you are watching. I always love to have people say hi in the chat. If you get a chance, you know. I get that if you're on mobile, sometimes they don't let you chat, and also, you know, just, more people don't want to speak in the chat, and that's fine, but I do really appreciate when people talk in the chat, because, you know. What was I gonna, oh yes, I was going to go, no, not there, I was going here, that up, and that up, there we go. So now I can still see the chat, but also, oh, oh, wow, okay, that's why, smelting. Of course, it doesn't let you just change just one. Alright, Bee said she'd come by, hopefully she will. Okay, so smelting ore at low temperatures, aquatic dwarves. So, we have the advanced race guide here that we're using, because this is a Pathfinder first, well, okay, I do run Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition games here, but I specifically, on stream at least, tend to go toward, that, so, let's see what we got. Race examples. This chapter features numerous examples of races designed with the race builder. Sidebars early in the chapter offer detailed examples of races found in Pathfinder RPG Bestiary, Bestiary 2, Bestiary 3 that would normally have racial hit dice, skill, and other abilities. PC members of such races, however, calculate these benefits based solely on their class. Note that these races are only an approximation of their monstrous counterparts and may not match exactly. Later in this chapter, sidebars detail entirely new races created using the race builder rules. Lastly, the final section of the chapter breaks down the points and abilities of core races and many of the featured or uncommon races. Cool. The race builder allows you to create new race by buying racial qualities and racial traits with race points. There are a number of differences between racial qualities and racial traits. The main difference is that racial qualities are mandatory. You must make a choice for each category of racial qualities provided within these rules, whereas racial traits are optional. There are 6 categories of racial qualities, including type, subtype, size, base, speed, ability score, modifiers, and language. Racial traits present a number of interesting options for the race you are creating, from expanded modes of movement and bonuses on skill checks to even stranger powers like frightening, croak, attack, or ability to change shape. Or the ability to breathe underwater, which is a key one if we're going to have these guys be aquatic. I don't know if they have the ability to breathe air. That might be an interesting question. Can they breathe air? Because that is a thing, you know? Can they breathe air? Alright, yes. Racial traits are split up into a number of different categories, such as defense, offense, and magical traits. Alright, cool. Before you buy racial qualities and traits, you must determine the power level of your race. GM decides this based on the needs of her campaign. The power level of the race determines the number of RP, racial points you get to build the race, as well as the maximum number of racial traits you can choose from each racial trait category and what kind of traits you can take from these categories. Sometimes racial qualities and traits cost 0 RP or a negative number of race points, which means that they can be taken for free or gain back race points, respectively. In the case of racial qualities, choosing a 0-point option still counts toward your choice for that racial quality category, and in case of racial traits, such choices still count toward the maximum number of racial traits per trait category. Okay, that makes sense. There are 3 power levels: standard, advanced, and monstrous. Standard races can only take standard racial traits, while advanced races can take both standard and advanced racial traits. Monstrous races can take standard, advanced, and monstrous racial traits. Table 4.1 summarizes the number of RP you can spend, as well as the maximum number of traits per racial trait category you can take based on power level. Alright, so trait 1.4, here we go. Standard is 1 to 10 race points, and 3 traits per category. Advanced is 11 through 20 race points and 4 traits per category. And then monstrous is 20 plus, and 5 traits per category. Once you determine the race's power level, follow each of the steps below to create your race. Alright, let's go through it bit by bit. We're going to build them up, these aquatic dwarves, as a vibe. And we're going to make it happen. Yeah, it depends. Oh, that's the question. Do they have lungs or do they have gills? Um, yeah, no, they have gills instead, and the gills act in the way that lungs would. But gills not in water, um, uh, um, yeah, gills when you're not underwater don't, um, you know, work. So, yeah, you can absolutely have gills but no lungs. That's fish. Or you have lungs but no gills, like your standard humans. Or there are certain animals that have both. There's also lungs that... so the spell water breathing basically makes your lungs able to process water. Basically, instead of growing gills, which is what like Alter Self does. What water breathing does as a spell, because this is a world with magic, remember, allows your lungs to process water as opposed to air. So if they have lungs that can process water, then they would hypothetically be able to process air as well. If they do not have lungs that can process water and instead have gills, then if they don't have lungs, if they only have gills but no lungs, they can't breathe above water. However, the only main thing with that is, can they speak? Do they have a spoken language? Because if they have a spoken language, then they would need to have lungs to create the vibrations that spoken languages require. They would just create them through water instead of through air. And so it would be a language you could not speak above water. That's an interesting question. Maybe you can't speak their racial language unless you're underwater, because the way the vibrations set it's like whale sonar. It doesn't it doesn't work right in the air. But that means that anyone other than of the race could only speak it if they had their water breathing cast on them. Because even if they grew gills, they still... Well, no, you can speak under... Maybe. It would be difficult to speak underwater, and you'd screw with your lungs even if you had gills as well. It'd be weird. Possibly doable, though. Okay, let's keep reading. A race is just more than just a group of individuals with similar qualities and traits. A race is a collection of people with a shared history and cultural identity. Yes, there you go. While the new race builder presents many options for creating new races, and it may be tempting to treat each section as a buffet of options to help you ferret out the most optimal choices for your character, it's generally more beneficial for your campaign world to conceptualize your race first. Alright, solid. Before choosing options, consider answering some questions about your race and its culture. Answering these questions can aid you in making reasonable choices about qualities and traits for your race so that you can better fit the game world, rather than just being a collection of seemingly random options. Such questions might include the following. Where does your race tend to live and why? It's the underwater dwarves, and that's just because they kind of live there. What does they look like? How do members' appearances help them adapt to their typical environments? They do have beards, but the beards are... do they have tentacle beards? That would be kind of cool. Creepy, but kind of cool. What is your race's history? Does it have a creation myth? What are the pivotal events in the race's history? What kind of relationships does your race have with other races? Does it have allies, competitors, enemies, hated foes? I would say that the land-dwelling dwarves are distant cousins, and that these... they were blessed specifically, or at least the story goes. It might be convergent evolution or divergent at some point, but the myth goes that they were blessed specifically by Gazra to mine this. Yeah, I was thinking like seaweed. That's a way to do it. I'm not sure on plant growth though, but yeah, definitely a possibility. It's either tentacles or seaweed for the beards. But if the beards are like seaweed, then they'd have the hair like seaweed too, right? So it would be all the hair on the face. at least. Like, the beard and the head, the head hair. Sorry. What class does your race tend to favor? A lot of fighters. There are quite a few bards, actually, though. If you're using these rules and you are not the GM, make sure you work closely with your GM to create a new race that fills a definite niche and need in her campaign world. Alright. Racial qualities. The next step is to choose your race's qualities. You may select an option for each of the following quality categories. Qualities are aspects of qualities often serve as prerequisites for racial traits. That's true. I was thinking more like Squid or Octopus or Davy Jones kind of underwater vibe. Like Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. For the more chocolate. And then passing out again. And yeah, seaweed sounds pretty, or kelp would be an interesting vibe. I think that could work. Okay. I think this is my last one. Last one of these, so. Alright. Alright. There we go. Generating ability scores for most of the race you create with these rules, even advanced monstrous races, uses the standard methods found on page 15 of the Pathfinder RPG core rulebook. Races without constitution scores with exception and require some slight changes to the ability score generation methods. These changes are as follows, corresponding with the 5 methods found in the core rulebook. Standard, roll 46, discarding the lowest result as a normal, and sum the result, but only do it 5 times, and assign them as you see fit, skipping constitution. Alright. Classic. Roll 3d6 and sum the results 5 times, and assign them as you see fit, skipping constitution. So 46 drops the lowest is standard, 3d6 is classic, and you get heroic. Roll 2d6 and add 6 to the sum of each. Ooh, that's an interesting one. 5 times and assign them skipping constitution. Dice pool. Instead of 24 d6, races without constitution get a pool of 20 d6 to assign to the ability scores except for constitution. Your character still must assign a minimum of 3d6 to each of the other ability scores, increase the number for higher powered games. Then purchase. When using the purchase method for the ability scores, assume members of the race without constitution have a constitution score of 10, and buy the rest of the abilities normal using the points allocated from the campaign's power level. That works. I don't think we're creating a race without constitution. That sounds a little weird, but type quality. This is the race's creature type. A race creature type is similar to the corresponding creature type found in the Pathfinder RPG Bestiary, with a few important differences. The first difference is that each race type assumes the members of the race are roughly humanoid in shape and have 2 arms, 2 legs, torso, and a head. This is important so that races can take advantage of all various magic item slots available to characters, and can utilize the standard weapons and armor options. The second difference is that all of these race types are 0 hit dice creatures, which means that their hit dice, base attack bonus, saving throw progression, skill points, class skills, weapons, and armor proficiencies are based on their class levels that each member of the race takes. Undead. Yes, that's probably why. Because you could probably create undead races, I'm guessing. That's probably why. That's fair. Like other racial qualities, each type has a point cost. The baseline creature type, humanoid, costs 0 RP and offers the most flexibility when choosing other racial traits and racial abilities, while more expensive type grants less flexibility. The cost of the race's type also determines which of the types you can choose from based on the power level of the race you are creating. You cannot pick a type with an RP cost equal or higher than the maximum RP cost of the power level of the race you are building. This means that you build an advanced race if you want to take a race with an undead type. Alright. Let's see. Or monstrous race if you are building a race with the construct type. If you want to make a construct or undead themed creature at lower power levels, see the special subtype sidebar on 218 for some lower cost options. Interesting. They're neither construct nor undead, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about that, but good to know. Sometimes a race type may grant racial traits as features. For instance, the construct type grants members of that race dark vision of 60 feet. If this is the case, the cost of that racial trait is already paid for when you buy the type quality, and the trait does not count toward the maximum when you buy racial traits from the corresponding racial trait category. For instance, when buying other vision traits for construct race, the dark vision 60 feet feature that the race already has does not count toward the limit of 5 traits from that census racial trait category for the race. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my ear really itches. Okay. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know. But they still count for meeting prerequisites. The humanoid type requires that you pick at least one subtype for your race, and the outsider native type allows you to make a decision about what other plane your race may have ties to. Keep track of your race's creature type, any subtypes it has, and any planes it has ties to. Sometimes the race's subtypes or planar ties serve as prerequisites for some racial traits. Good to know. For instance, you must have a rat folk subtype to take a rodent empathy racial trait, and you must have ties to Abaddon, the Abyss, or Hell in order to take the fiendish sorcery racial trait. Aberration, bizarre anatomy, strange abilities, alien mindsets, and any combination of the three. You got okay, then there's size quality. Here we go. half constructor, half undead, basically, is 2 options. I was just going over the type quality. So, the racial types, you got aberration, construct, fey, humanoid, monstrous humanoid, outsider, plant. Plant. Of course, plant subtype, you'd have to choose. It's 10 race points, so you'd have to essentially, maybe, like, you'd have to really not give them anything cool if you wanted to keep it as a, what's the technical term? Standard race rather than advanced. Outsider, native. Yeah. I'd say dwarves are not fey. That's elves and gnomes would be close to fey, not dwarves. Monsters are animalistic. No? I'm done with humanoid. Yeah. So, really interesting. Well, why don't we, okay, I'm gonna put a list of these. We got so you got half subtype, half undead. Type is you got humanoid. We'll go with size next, I think, is the next one. So that's size quality. Humanoid subtypes is prerequisites. There are a number of racial traits that require certain humanoid subtypes as prerequisite. That's usually the case when a racial trait mentions the race in its name. As GM, you can view these subtypes prerequisites as suggestions and indicators as to what kind of race or humanoid subtypes would usually take these traits. Feel free to change the name or racial subtype prerequisites of such trait to benefit the race you're building. Alright. So there's that. Oh, right, hang on. Let me rework this so that I can see chat. Okay. Okay. Alright, so we got